Ducks aren't for everyone, but love them or hate them, the one thing that everyone can agree on when it comes to ducks is just how messy they are. Things that I find that people hate the most is brooding ducks. I personally love it. I think they're adorable, and I found a way to make it as easy and cost effective as possible. So today I'm going to share with you how I choose to raise my little ducklings. I'll take you from the hatch phase all the way up until 4 weeks old, which is what these guys are. Around, and I will share with you how to do this that won't drive you crazy. Welcome back to Dragon Way Farm. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I've had some technical difficulties, but I think I've got it all worked out, so I am back. Fingers crossed. Anyway, if you're new here, my name is Ginger, and on this channel we talk about raising food, raising livestock, and homesteading on a budget. So today I wanted to share with you how I raise ducklings on a budget. I have mostly khaki Campbells with a Cayuga and some khaki runners mixed in, but my primary focus is on khaki Campbell ducks. They are great egg layers. My ladies, I have 12 hens. Starting in about mid-March, they began laying, and I got 1 egg a day per hen steadily up until today, and I still got 11 duck eggs this morning. So I don't know when it's gonna end, but my ducks far outlay my chickens. So I am very happy with the ducks. I also have these guys free ranging because we do have a mosquito problem here on the property. And since adding ducks, the mosquito population has gone down tremendously. Obviously, we haven't gotten rid of all of them. I don't think we ever will. But we've definitely seen a huge decrease in the mosquito population. So for me, ducks are awesome. I absolutely love them. Yes, I do agree that they are messy, but if I had to choose between the chickens or the ducks, if I had to get rid of one, I'm keeping my ducks.
So this was May 28th when I came home from work. We incubated the eggs from our own ducks. The incubation period for ducks is approximately 28 days. The day that you set the eggs into the incubator, that is day 0, so it doesn't count. The next day you start your count, and 28 days later, you should start to have little ducklings hatching. The hatch usually takes about 3 days. You want to allow for it. So you go into lockdown 3 days before the hatch, and then 3 days after the first one starts hatching out. So we hatched out 13. After the last duckling had hatched on day 3, we moved everybody into the brooder with pine shavings and access to water and some food. And what we feed is just a regular chick starter crumble, the 18 to 20% protein starter crumble. These guys were super healthy, so we were very happy to see that. Ducklings hatched at home or that you purchase locally are probably going to be much hardier than ones that you would purchase through the mail.
So these guys are only about 4 or 5 days old, and I like to get them out as soon as possible. So when it's warm like this today, it's supposed to be in the high 70s, low 80s, so they should be good for all day. And ducks, as everyone who has ever raised ducklings knows, ducks can be very messy, especially at this age. They love to play in the water, but at this age, you don't really want to give them access to any kind of deep water. They really don't swim. They kind of just make a huge mess. They love it, but at this size and this age, they can drown. They don't have the oils, and they're really not the best swimmers at this point. So in order to give them a chance to be ducks and to start experiencing some water and to make a mess, what I use are these are plant water things, the little tray that you put underneath a potted plant. So these are pretty big ones, but they're not very deep. So even filled all the way, the ducks have no chance of getting stuck in here and drowning. It's easy for them to get in and out of, as you can see. And they can splash around, but never really be in any kind of a danger. So they will empty the water fairly quickly in here. So I do have 2 of them set up in this pen for them. But this allows them to make a huge mess and not so much in the brooder. Because as you can see, they're dragging water everywhere. They've already kind of made over here. They've already made a little puddle, and they've only been out here 3 minutes.
So if they were in the brooder like this, they make a ton of mess in the brooder, but at least out here, I don't have to worry about them soiling bedding. And so while the weather's nice during the day, I leave these guys out as much as possible. And they are protected in this pen. So I have, this is little netting that they cannot get through, and it's a covered run. I have a little bit of shade in case it rains or so that they can get out of the sun. But then this portion is open. Because they're less than a week old, they're not going to be so good with temperatures that are too low. But instead of using a heat lamp, they're going to use the power of the sun. So they can sit out in the sun and warm up if they need to. But otherwise, they're free to hunt around. They have their food that they can get to and plenty of water to play around and a lot of room to start running around in. So ducks can be fun as long as you manage it correctly. So yeah, this is my method for raising ducklings easier. I do wait to hatch out until it is warm enough that they can be out most of the time. So ducklings do make an incredible mess. They will poop everywhere. It's pretty disgusting, actually. So for me, I've been moving the pen every couple of days, at least for the first week or so. Until I came upon a Facebook post. It was a woman sharing how she keeps her grass run beautiful. She has a bunch of chickens, and so what she does is she goes out every single morning and she hoses down the entire run where all the poop is. It breaks up all of the chicken manure that's matted onto the grass, and it sends all of that nutrition down into the grass while at the same time watering it in. So she has vibrant, beautiful grass that the chickens don't eat down and don't destroy. So I decided to try it here with these little ducklings. I started almost a week ago. So every morning as I'm filling up their waters for the day, I'll just go ahead and run the hose over all of the poopy mess. And it's a big mess, let me tell you. The entire area of grass is usually covered in duckling crap. But I hose it all down and then it's good as new. It just looks like fresh wet grass and the ducklings go out on it. So I'm going to try to keep this pen. I like it where it's at. It's easy for the ducklings to get into and out of the barn on their own, which is what I'm trying to train them to do. In the beginning, for the first week or so, while they were little, I brought them out in a tub. It was a big plastic tub that I used to transport them. So this is good for two reasons. One, it gets them used to being handled daily, and you're kind of forced to. You don't have to make time to chill out with them. You kind of forced to bring them in morning and night. So it gets them used to that, and it gets them used to a routine of being outside during the day and inside at night. Because I don't want my ducks out all night where the foxes and the owls can pick them off. So all of my big ducks put themselves to bed at night. So we'll show you that too. And so now I am training these guys to do that. After about a week and a half, they did get too big for me. I don't have some back problems now at 45 years old. So it was really hard for me to carry around 10 little ducklings in a tote. They were just getting too heavy. So about 3 days ago, I made a little pen inside for them that's bigger that they can walk into. So they're officially out of the brooder. And for the last 3 or 4 nights, they have been walking in on their own and walking out again in the morning. So little babies growing up so fast. So I have made it super simple for these little ducklings to put themselves to bed at night and to put themselves out in the morning with my guidance. I've made a straight line right from their pen. This is another reason why I want to keep this pen here for as long as I possibly can. But it's pretty much a straight line from their pen into the garage, which is also our barn. And then another straight line right into this little pen that I built for them. Now this is temporary, only for growing them out, and it's only because I have chickens in the grow out pen. And this would be horrible for chickens or anything that can fly. But what I've done is I used an old brooder. This is an old brooder and storage area for one of my walls. You gotta use what you got. And then this was an old poultry run, like a temporary run that's broken down, and I just used a couple of the sides, and they're together with twist ties because I use these frequently for different things. And then I just have some buckets and things pushed against it for security. Ducks don't really test, or these ducklings haven't really tested the fencing very much. And this is pretty deeply bedded. We're on concrete floor, but it's pretty deeply bedded with shavings. And then I have this waterer here. You do not actually need a waterer overnight. My big ducks sleep inside overnight with no issues, no water. They don't have food and water overnight. So I'm trying to train these little ones to the same thing. They have access to food and water all day. They don't technically need it at night. But I don't know. I decided to give them some just in... Guys, you're so loud. Just in case, you know, I'm running a little bit late or something like that. I have this giant 3-gallon waterer. So they make a mess around this, but, you know, without food, they're not going to be splashing around in it that much. So they drink a little bit overnight. They can't get in it and splash around and play. So the amount of mess is definitely minimized this way. You know, I'll have to clean out that tiny little corner. But it's not such a big deal. They only sleep here at night, so... This is our morning routine. Ducks really do thrive on routine and can be easily trained. They're also very easy for one person to herd. So I don't have any trouble now herding them into their pen in the morning, and same thing at night, going back into the barn. Day one, it was a little bit of a trial. I had to herd them around, but now they pretty much have the hang of it after a few days. You can see how quickly they grow. In just a few days, the youngest one will be 3 weeks old. I thought they were 4 weeks, but they're actually only 3 weeks old. So you can see the change, how much bigger they are. At this point, you could certainly integrate them into a flock, but we have a lot of hawks, and these guys are still small enough so that hawks will be able to pick them off. So I'm going to leave them covered in this protected run. Probably until they're a couple more months old, just to make sure that the hawks can't get them. This little duckling is demonstrating how the water tends to get really messy. They take a bite of food and then they wash it down with some water, but very frequently they will drop the food into the water, soiling it, and then when they go in and wash themselves off in the water, they'll just poop if they're in there. So ducks are messy, but raising them outside like this definitely minimizes the mess. I feel like they're a lot healthier this way, getting to run around and move freely. They're a lot hardier, and you waste a lot less bedding and a lot less time cleaning for sure. I wanted to take a moment to address the niacin issue when raising baby ducks. They do need more niacin than chicks. However, I do not add it when I'm raising them like this. I find that eating the bugs and grass, they seem to be fine. They don't develop any issues. If you are raising them just inside with a brooder, definitely add some Brewers yeast. I'll drop a link below where you can get it. Right around nightfall, it's time for bed for the ducks. So they're all up in the coop anyway. I open up the chicken run and they clean up a lot of the food that the chickens have dropped. Time for bed, guys. Come on, let's go to bed. Go to bed, guys. And again, ducks are pretty easy to herd. There we go, guys. They're used to this routine. They pretty much put themselves, they know exactly where to go. If I wait until full dark to shut the door, they would have already gone in by themselves. But they're just going back to where they sleep, which is on the other side of the barn here. Good job, duckies. You guys are such good ducks. And they just sleep in here. I have some roosters that also sleep in here over top of them. Have a good night, you guys. See you in the morning. And then I just shut the door.